All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope this video finds you well. Got a really fun topic. We're going to be covering grip types relating to forearm pronation and supination release patterns down at the bottom of the arc. How our grip type is going to affect what we need to be doing in regards to the club face. So if you haven't checked out the last video that I did, please click on that link. I've got that down below. I also have a free crash course, Understanding Impact. Would love to have you take a look at that. And let's get right into it. So when we look at one of our fastest and quickest influences of changing the club face or changing ball flight, it would relate to what the hands do, what the grip type does, and also how the wrists function in the golf swing. So what we've got right here is I've got HackMotion hooked up, and we're going to hit a few shots, and we're going to measure and look at our key data parameter that we're going to be looking at is going to be the rotation of the forearm. So when we look at rotation of the lead forearm, this right here, this would be pronation, or I'm going this way, and supination would be this direction. So this would be a release pattern of what the golf club can do. Now, we look at players, if we look at players throughout time, we look at what we would call flipping. I'm going to call it a twisting of the grip. Phil Mickelson, really good player, twister of the grip. Vijay Singh, really good player, twister of the grip. And then we've obviously got other player types that are more static. You've got Zach Johnson, who's almost more of a hold-off release. So we've got all these different types of release patterns that we can go into, and I think it's kind of fun to look at data and be able to say, what should I be doing based on what my grip type is? Because we are all unique and we're all individual in our own ways, okay? Because you twist the grip, that does not necessarily mean that you're going to be a bad player. Like we said, we look throughout the history of time, we've got a lot of good players who actually twisted the grip. This is also not me in the same sense saying I want every person to go out there and start twisting the grip right there. So when we go into this stuff right here, I think one thing that we really need to make sure of is we need to know what our grip type is and what we need to sync up in regards to a release pattern. So what we're going to do here is we're going to combo this. We're going to show this to you from 9 to 3 shots, what the actual forearms are going to be doing, how much rotation there is based on what our grip types are. So if we look at players who we would say have a weaker grip, okay, so a weaker lead hand grip, this is going to be potentially sitting in the palm. So this wrist is almost starting off in flexion, and I'm also starting off in more, again, this would be supination of the forearm. Okay, so weaker grip, supination of the forearm, grip a little bit more in the palm, and then the trail hand sits a little bit more on top of this. So from down the line here, what you can see is if I put my trail wrist into extension, even though I've got this inflection right here, it's very easy for this face to open. So I can't just keep the wrists in this same position and move down to impact and hit the golf ball solidly. Can't be crazy passive through the golf ball with that type of a grip option. If our grip is weak, what we're going to see out of this from this type of a player is from here, we're going to see this forearm working into a lot more supination. This lead wrist is going to be working into a lot more flexion. And then we're also going to be elongating the wrist into more of an ulnar deviated release pattern on the lead arm. So weak grip, face is a little bit more open to the leading edge of the shaft right there when our hands are in a good spot. And we can see now from here, this is where we would have to start going into more flexion, supination to square this club up. And this club's probably going to be working more in this type of a manner here. So if I give one of these a go, and then we'll look at the data. Okay, so I got that ball fairly straight right. Okay. Then what we'll do is we'll go check out the data on that, and what we should see is a lot more rotation in the forearm, flexion in the wrist, and probably a little bit more ulnar deviated. Now, when we go to a stronger grip, let's take an example like a Paul Azinger, or we take an example of like a Zach Johnson. So pretty strong grips right in there. So a strong grip, the forearm is going to be starting into more of a pronated position. So this would be more of a pronated position. So my entire logo on my glove here is on top. I can see just about every knuckle, and my right hand, my trail hand, is sitting more off to the side underneath the grip right here. So we can see when I swing this back to a neutral wrist position, we can see the leading edge of the shaft. We can see how much more closed that face is. So if I create that same release pattern, I'm going to be hitting myself in my shoe right here. So we're going to have a different release pattern for this type of a grip. So once this is in here, this forearm is going to be staying more into a pronated position here through the golf ball. We can see this isn't starting to work into a twist, because if this twists right here, this golf club is going to be shut, and we are probably going to end up hooking that right there. So when we hit one of these here, we would see face is stronger. The forearm is going to be staying more passive. So you can see how this would be the radial bone here. This is staying more here for a much longer period of time through the shot. So this is a stronger grip right here. We're going to give this a go. Okay, and so this is more of a hold off look right here to be able to get that golf ball to go straighter. So again, based on grip types, we need to practice or relate this to a proper release pattern. Now, if we go into a neutral grip, which would obviously be my preference, more so as a teacher, I think we have more options here as opposed to being crazy strong or crazy weak with the forearms and the wrists right here in the hand positions. So neutral grip, I can see two knuckles. My lead thumb is just down this side of the shaft. Right hand is more on top, so now we can see when I get my wrists into a good position right there. The club face is just minutely closed to the leading edge of the shaft there, and I can work this around the arc. And so this is going to have a little bit more forearm rotation going pronation here from P6 into P7 and into P8. So there is going to be forearm rotation with a neutral grip. We just need to know where the actual destination side of this is and what it's supposed to look like at P8 right here. So if I'm in here, I would say my trail hand, if you think about this, my thumb and my index finger, this V right here is on top of the grip. So if I picked this up, a little bit of extension or upward hinge of the lead wrist, and I worked this around my body here to where this is still in front of me, that would be where I would want to see my release pattern finish. So if I do one of these, a 9-3, and then we'll check out the data. So we can see that golf ball went very straight right there. I love where my finish is at. The face was really square. So I think it's really important when we go into and we look at this, we need to know what is our grip type and what are we going to be needing from that grip type versus just going out and copying a golf swing that we like. If you're going to copy a golf swing, make sure you know how they put their hands on the golf club, because that's going to determine a lot of what their actual wrist conditions are actually doing throughout their motion right there. So really important topic here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Work on this a lot. Really spend a lot of time from 9-3 and gain control of what the forearms are actually doing and what they need to do for you in order to make that golf ball fly straighter. Make sure you're matching that up in regards to what your grip type is. So if you guys have any questions, you need anything at all from me, please leave those in the comments down below. Thank you for your support. I appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time.